So how's everyone doing today? How are the bees?
They are hungry.
Yeah, yeah. We're coming out of the infamous dearth, and so I don't know how many of y'all have been keeping an eye on them, but if you didn't pull spring honey, probably not a lot of it left, because they will eat it up in July and part of August until the fall flow starts. But what else? Has anyone lost a queen suddenly? That's always my luck. Lose a queen right in August. It stinks when it happens because you can't buy them anymore. But what else is going on? And I always want to make sure we have time in the beginning for especially our new beekeepers, like questions on your mind, anything like that, so we can help out if needed. Yeah.
Wasps. I've seen Phyllis on too.
Hornets.
Uh-huh.
That was about that big. Okay, flying around in my area there and stuff. And I was just wondering, is that a normal thing or what?
So, yeah. I mean, wasps and stuff are predators and they eat things like that, but it also depends on what kind it is. The really big ones that are yellow and black are cicada killers, typically.
Or could be European horn.
Could be, yeah.
Because they will take over that.
Yeah. So it depends a bit about what they look like. If they're cicada killers, they're completely harmless. They don't care. If they're European hornets or yellow jackets or some of those, they can go in and try to kill a hive. If you're worried about it though, because they are predators, you can actually set up some traps for them and kill them. That's all I really know to do. Cicada killers are like round little sausages almost. And super buzzy sounding. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Cicada killers are built to freak you out, but they don't do anything. So it depends on what it is. I've lost a hive to yellow jackets before. And something you have to keep an eye on. They, technically they don't overwinter like our bees do, but during the cooler months coming into fall is when they're at their most active. And so that's when they tend to succeed because that's when honeybees kind of slow down. So I would keep an eye on it, but if you're worried, you can set out traps for those types of stinging insects and it'll kill them.
The other thing that we've been seeing were orange angels. Is that what they are? Scarlet.
Oh, the birds?
Yeah, they come down, get one.
Yeah.
Go up and eat it, come get another one.
They just sit there.
Little jerks. I can't tell you to get rid of birds, but I can understand if you want to. Yeah. Oh, sure. What about them?
So, is there? I mean, I saw one thing where people are putting land down around the hives to knock them down.
Yeah.
Is that a wise tale or is it true?
Diatomaceous earth is a popular treatment for hive beetles below the hive. I don't remember exactly how it works, but it's really popular to use. I don't use it because I don't care and I don't have much of a problem. The other fairly popular thing are the kind of clothy Scott towels. And you just kind of put them up in the tops of your supers and they'll shred it and then they get stuck in it. It's kind of a mess, but it will trap them. Are you seeing just like a huge amount of them or?
No, I mean, early, like in the spring, I saw a few.
Yeah.
They all went away.
Mm-hmm.
Moved my hive more into a sunny location. They seem to go away.
Yeah.
But now this last time, they haven't checked them for a while just because it's been so hot out.
Yeah.
I went in there and it's like, oh, there's half a dozen, maybe a dozen in each hive.
Yeah, that's pretty normal here.
I just shook them off and went.
Yeah.
Finished, so.
Yeah, especially for this area, like in my experience, there's always going to be a handful roaming in the hives. They're not going to do much because the hive will deal with it. But if you start seeing like lots and lots, your hive is on its way out. But I don't even think the treatments like diatomaceous earth and the Scott's towels will keep you down below a dozen or so. So That's what most of us will do if we want to deal with it, which is the diatomaceous earth or the Scott's towels. You know those little like oil traps. People have super mixed results with those. You're welcome to do it, but some people will swear by them, and other people are like, all it does is make a mess.
I mean, I've never had a problem with that oil.
Yeah.
I just put it in one corner.
Yeah.
They take them and put them in this corner, but then whenever I done that hunting, there was some in there, and I didn't see none inside.
Yeah.
But I did see whenever I spent it.
Yep. There's always a few that hang out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was told when I first started keeping bees in the area that they're sort of like they're a useful indicator of health. Like you see some, you've got a healthy hive. You see a lot, you have an unhealthy hive. But don't lose sleep over seeing a few. That's just part of it.
So going into winter,
Mhm.
since you said this is the first time I've been in Arkansas.
Yeah.
Do you go in with 2 brood boxes or a single brood box or a single or a super? Or
You just picking fights today. It's
one of those things, right?
You can do whatever you'd like. I run singles, other people run doubles. It's fine. Our winters aren't so awful. We have usually a pretty like a week of super cold weather, but even if you don't insulate, you're going to be fine. So you can do kind of whatever your favorite method is. And we'll talk more about that
Later on.
in the next month or two, because winter prep's a hassle. But we'll talk a little bit about some of that today, just in terms of like, what are we supposed to be doing now? But yeah, you can run doubles or singles. We've got beekeepers that do both here, and everyone's successful for the most part. What else?
I dropped my bee box.
Ooh, yeah.
I don't recommend it.
I'm assuming they let you know.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Did you walk away okay from that one?
Ran.
Yeah.
I think it took about an hour, let them calm down, because I have cough, I really do. So let them calm, 10 minutes, went back, got, because when I ordered the box, it was the tongue and groove kind of thing. Well, I grew up with it, you don't eat nails.
Oh, okay.
You do.
Yes.
They just.
Yeah, those boxes will fall apart under weight. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, I'm glad you made it out all right.
Just one study, I just got one.
Yeah, that's an earned one though. That's okay. Yeah.
I got one more question.
Yeah.
Armadillos, they get into boxes at all?
I haven't really heard of that happening. Every now and then you'll hear a story from someone with like some weird animal trying to get in, but yeah.
I haven't seen now. I had 2 up there last night. I mean, not last night, the night before last. I had 2 that were around there. They wasn't worried about. They wasn't worried about the bees, and I had some fear, and I didn't. But I can't say it. Never mind. I'll just go on.
So we had 2 queen phenomena. We heard piping. So that was pretty cool.
That is cool.
Yeah, we're just like, wow. But the other question, we had 2 deeps and a super, and up on top, we're at the top off, we're inspecting it. And there's a ball the size of a top ball of bees. And so I gently pulled it apart, and there's the queen right in the middle of it. Are they killing her?
No idea. Couldn't tell you.
They have 2. And then whoever emerges first.
Yeah.
Well, that's the pipe, and that's why the piping people, just so
Yeah.
they were in there stinging her and going after her. So we figured, I mean, a friend said a third of his hives breed queens out here.
Yeah.
So they're taking her out because she's not producing.
So one of the reasons I asked in the beginning, did anyone lose a queen this month, is for some reason, this is a month where your queens will vanish. And I don't know if it's because of just natural supersedure or whatever, but you may have caught that moment. It was my understanding generally that the queen there's usually when one emerges, they'll go fight it out, but I've never seen it happen. I don't know what the mechanics of it would be like, but you may have just been watching that happen. I don't know.
We figured there's another queen in there because they're not going to kill their own queen, right?
Probably.
Probably.
Yeah, they're not. They're not supposed to, but nature's crazy. No, they're supposed to raise a super seeker queen. She emerges and the old one gets killed. That's the order I've always been told, but I've never really observed this happen. So I don't know. If you have if this all happened though, you would have a virgin queen in your hive. Hopefully she's able to take a mating flight, but you might have 2 to 3 weeks of you won't know very well what's happened.
Well, we thought about taking her out, putting her in a nuke with a frame of eggs.
Sure.
You know, see if she continues laying or.
Yeah, it's a little late to have a lot of high hope that they'll survive winter, but maybe it's a good insurance policy in case something else happens in the next few months. Yeah.
Yeah, we had quite a bit of problems with queens and stuff just in like June. Quite a bit of swarming, helicopter swarms, and then they got a new queen and established laying eggs, and then the hive like right away went queenless, and then they didn't requeen, and so we like swap frames around, and then they made another queen. But they were getting queens, and then the queens were disappearing, and I don't know what was going on, but it was.
We've lost every queen this year. Yeah, this is weird.
I had a rough time with queens too.
Took a long vacation. I came back and everything was fine. So I think maybe I just need to stay out of it.
Yeah.
Sometimes we get in there too much.
Yep.
But
So I know we kind of glossed over the armadillo thing, but the short answer is
it's probably not an issue then.
we got critters, but they don't seem to do much with our hives. There is a rumor that there are more bears showing up in Bella Vista now, but I've still not heard of a bear getting a hive yet. But if they are making their way back, then it's only a matter of time before we hear someone losing their hives to bears.
One lizard that was eating them out of the air right outside
Oh, I had one of those.
Yeah.
I had a picture of them.
You need a rope on to take care of him.
So, any other questions? We'll get into our material a little bit. It's going to be pretty light tonight, but since we've been kind of talking about it, I want to talk about what we're supposed to be doing in the month of August. So the dearth will end sometime at the end of this month, probably, weather being what it is. But the dearth for all of us means keep an eye on your hives because they could run out of resources. And when they're running out of resources, but they still think they should have them, they can starve themselves. So just keep an eye. If they need extra feed them. There's no shame in it. Because the dearth is because we don't have water or rain. Make sure they have access to it, which generally isn't too big of a deal, but if it's easy for you to provide water safely, why not? We already talked about how they're going to eat into their honey. And in general, because bees are generally aware of what time of year it is, you'll probably notice that their population isn't going to be exploding like it was a few months ago. It's going to slow down. And that's just because they're getting ready for fall and winter, and they'll lay their winter stock. So things we can do as a beekeeper. I wouldn't say it's time to do fall prep yet or winter prep yet. It's still early. And every time I think about doing it now and getting ahead of it, then we have like 3 more months of great weather. And then I'm like, great. So I will say, though, that August is a pretty important month in my head because you make your decisions about some of the last warm weather treatments you could do if you have varroa issues. You may be pulling some of your last honey or deciding when you're going to pull. You might be combining hives so they're ready to go for the fall and winter. All those are things that are good to consider now because September and whatever, you might have cold weather where treatments don't work. Or if you try to combine that late, they may not be able to reestablish well enough with enough food. So it's a good month to consider some of those things. Bob Benny likes to say that August is the month that will make or break your next year, depending on what decisions you make. I don't think that's quite true for where we are, but just some things to think about. If you do want to know what's going on, the University of Arkansas apiculture site, they have their sort of like, what's going on, which is mostly what this is pulled from, but I colored it with what I've seen over the past few years here as well. Anything here that seems really strange or like, why would you say that now? Yeah.
The varroa treatments, this spring we put the strips in.
Yeah.
And, I mean, should we go ahead and been 3 months now, so
Recording.
put in new ones.
Just,
That's how I got in trouble.
oh yeah, yeah. So Viroxan, the strips of oxalic acid, those are really good for killing adults. They don't do really much for the brood or stop it. So they're best. Those strips will technically work best. And I'm not saying this to say you did it wrong. There's always an optimal, and then there's a bunch of things that are fine. So what you did is fine. But the best time to use those kind of things are going to be towards the fall, where they're going to lay less, so you can kill the adults, which will also break the brood, so they'll stop reproducing. But it doesn't matter. If you're going to treat, the main thing is check your mite populations and monitor it. The reason why I brought it up for August is because of the temperature controls that some treatments require. Also, the same thing with honey. If you're going to use like Apiguard, which can be in hot weather, but not with honey, you'd have to decide about what you're going to do with your honey before you would treat with that. So that's why that matters, particularly in August if you're going to pull honey. So it's just one of those juggling things. Yeah.
So I've got 2 swarms that I went to people's yards and caught, so they're fresh start.
Ooh.
Worry about rural mites?
My opinion is if you caught a swarm, that's like a half hive. And all treatments stress the hive out on some level. I would be more focused on getting them ready to survive for the year. And if they have a high mite load, they're going to die anyway. You're probably not going to save them. That's my opinion. Now, you could check them and say they have it.
When they come with nothing but
Yeah.
that's in their mouth, it seems like a pretty clean start to me.
It all depends. Like they can fly out. The swarm can leave with Varroa on them, and then they can start up again. So it may not be a clean start. You might be fine. I personally would say if you caught some, did you catch them recently or like earlier in the season?
One about 3 weeks ago, and then about maybe 6 weeks ago.
Wow. Okay.
Amazing.
Yeah. Those are some late ones.
So much fun. I love it.
I think my answer will be, by all means, check them if you want, like check for mites. But the name of the game in my head would be build them up as big as you can before winter happens, so you don't lose them. But the oxalic acid strips are pretty easy. Apiguard's a little tougher, so it depends. It all depends, but I'd keep an eye on it. But my main goal would be feeding and build them up as fast as I could.
I put sugar water out, nobody wanted it.
Yeah.
Take care of business.
Yeah.
So I'm good with that.
So you said the dirt was about 10?
Yeah, toward the end of the month.
We were in a dirt and had been in the dirt.
Yeah.
So have they been storing, collecting and storing honey? And because you mentioned about harvesting honey.
Yeah.
Now, I guess, my bees don't, they've got some, but I'd be worried about taking any away from them.
Yeah.
In the winter.
Yeah, so this is one of the things you kind of have to feel out. So what I typically see is we have a really productive spring, which ends early June, and then July hits, and then they start eating that honey because it dries out. That's when the dearth starts, and they'll keep eating into it until the dearth kind of ends, and it tapers. It's not like suddenly like we're back in business. It just, you start to see more honey showing up and less being eaten. So that should end around the end of this month. The reason why I mentioned you may want to consider pulling honey is it depends on what treatment you want to give to your bees if they need it. Because if you give a treatment that's not safe for honey, you better pull it. Otherwise, that honey is no longer safe ever for people. So that's why those kind of go hand in hand. In my experience, we still have a few more months of productive nectar flow coming. Some people don't like that because they're worried about things like, what's the one everyone gets upset about? It's not St. John's, what is it? Goldenrod. Everyone gets worked up about goldenrod. I've never had goldenrod honey. It hasn't ever affected me, so I let my bees continue to collect, and I pull honey late September, early October. That's that second flow for me. So most of my fall and winter prep happens then. So it all depends on what your plan is. Yeah, but August is one of those weird transition months in my head of I may need to make some of these calls now. Like I just did my combining a week ago to combine my hives to get ready because I want to give them the opportunity to build back up as best they can prior to when all the brood laying kind of really slows down. Yeah.
So you said that you harvest in October?
Late September, early October. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that just depends on how the weather's going. You know, if the bees are still out flying in October, I'm going to let them fly. And all I watch is to see if they have enough food for themselves. And if they have extra, then I'm going to take it from them.
And how do you determine that? So like the last swarm that I caught was
Yeah.
like smaller than a football.
Yeah, yeah.
There's not a lot of bees. Now, they are multiplying
Mhm.
and they're doing really well, but how do I know what is enough honey to get them through the winter?
So I'll give you the ranges that I know. So what I do is I want 4 deep frames of food per hive. That may seem a little scant, but I've been able to do that successfully like 3 years now
4 deep frames of what?
of food. Yeah. No.
That didn't make sense.
No, food. A lot of first year advice will say 1 super of honey. And it also depends on what bees you're using. But I have done the full super of honey, and I still had to feed them. Like I provide emergency food, and I've done the 4 frames of food, and I still had to feed them. So if I'm going to feed them, I'm going to do the 4 frames.
When you say food, you mean honey, or you mean?
Generally, it's going to be honey that I'm looking for, not so much pollen. I don't expect to see much pollen. But that's kind of the range. You have to make a decision for yourself about what you want to do. Like if you don't want to mess with honey, then leave it for them. It's fine. If you want to collect as much as you can, then I would say 4 deeps of food is about as low as I would consider going. And they'll start packing it in those deep frames as they get closer to winter. They do it by themselves. They'll stop putting it in the honey supers. So it's pretty easy to watch them go about doing it. And
I
then,
haven't had any super time because there's such a small amount of bees.
yeah.
And you're talking about bees that you haven't just collected. You're talking about bees.
Yeah, an established hive. Yeah.
Over a year.
I mean, it could be your first year. Yeah, even your first nuke could pull this off. You probably won't have any honey to collect, but they'd be ready for winter, I think. Yeah. I say that, and then everyone's like, I was able to collect honey my first year. But, yeah.
I give them 1 hive.
Mm-hmm.
But now I let them go 2 supers. They fill the first one, if they don't fill the second one, I don't take any.
Yeah.
You know, I just leave a super for
Yep.
them. And really never had to feed them.
Yeah.
And, you know, during the spring,
Mhm.
keep them going.
Yeah, and it all
I
depends.
mean, it
Yeah.
just depends on what works for you, basically.
Yeah, like I say, no matter what, you have to be prepared that even in the winter, you're going to have to go very occasionally just to make sure they've made it and be prepared to give them a little bit of emergency food. And then when mid-February hits, start really paying attention because they'll start waking up and then maybe they can get some stuff, maybe they can't. But that's when it's like, okay, maybe I need to start giving them extra food because they'll start exploding real quick. But that's my kind of short and sweet on how much food do you leave them. Somewhere between 4 frames and a whole super. And you still may feed them. Any other questions about what's going on in August? Cool. So someone reached out to me, Farmland Adventures down in Springdale. They want to sell our local honey. So if you are feeling like you got lots of honey to sell, they want to talk to you and have your honey on their shelves in September. Did I spell that right? Yeah, whatever. So that's their website, that's their phone number, and Miss Eleni Parsons would love to talk to you about selling your honey.
Do you have to do something specific to be selling honey?
You just have to follow the labeling requirements. That's it. Yeah. But yeah, I thought I'd let y'all know that's a thing. You can give her a call. Oh yeah, and you got that peach stuff. Mm-hmm. I don't know anything about like what the deal would be, prices. I know nothing about it, but she wanted to sell honey from here and reached out. And I was like, I'll tell the club. So there you go. I usually do give a honey talk sometime around then anyway, so that might change your mind.
Now, would you have to be, registered? to
Reg-
do that?
Registered as what?
Beekeeper, I mean,
Like a legal beekeeper?
yeah, to sell that? Because
Um,
on the, labeling, you would have to have your bee name and your number, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't.
Now, I could be wrong.
I don't think we have to put our registration numbers on any honey labels.
Yeah, so you just have to have your name,
A contact.
address, and a contact. So
Yeah.
if you do
Contact
like a
and then all the
website or an
warnings.
email or something like that.
And then all the warnings.
Nope. We don't have to do warnings either.
You don't have
You
to.
have to put the do not feed to infants under
Well,
1 year of age.
That might be new. I might have
Yeah,
missed that one.
that's
That's a common one. The labeling, there's like multiple sets of overlapping labeling rules, and it's confusing.
Yeah. I mean, I watched a few videos and he said, yeah, we've got to do it like this, but I don't know where it's at.
Yeah, so we have specific rules in Arkansas, and then there's the cottage law that's federal that doesn't apply to us because honey's not a processed food technically, but you'll bump into those rules too. But yeah, you have to have your contact information. The word honey has to be really big, like for whatever reason you can't say not honey. I don't know. And there's a few other little things. You have to put the weight of the honey.
And that way in the US units, like pounds and ounces.
Yes.
Metric grams, the packer's contact information, so like their name, address, phone number,
Yep.
or email. The harvest or bottling date. And then this says that you do have to put the state mandated cottage food disclaimer statement.
So, but we'll get into that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's more confusing than it needs to be.
Yeah.
But in terms of the registration number, I don't think that's required for us, but it does have to be labeled correctly. Now, once you know the labeling rules and you go look at everyone else's like honey on the shelf, you're like, well, they didn't care either. Queen excluder. So I'm gonna embarrass myself. So one of the things I hate most about inspecting my hives is when I get up to my inspections, it's pulling that super off the queen excluder, and it's like you hear that, and they're just mad after that. Like that's the one that makes it all mean. And I don't know if y'all have the same problems, but it's that super on top of the queen excluder that just makes them mad. Has anyone experienced this, or is this just a me thing?
No.
Yeah.
Why is that?
It's best I can tell. It's because we're just tearing things up when we pull it. Like we're just ripping up stuff that they've attached. But so that's always frustrated me that I could have such a smooth inspection except for that one moment, and then things can get just dicier after that. So I was out at my hives the other day, and my bees were just getting so mad at me as I was working them. And one of my hives didn't get mad at me, and I figured out why. It's because I checked all the honey on that super first, just to see. So that gave me an idea, and I've gone out and kind of confirmed it. But if you can take just a minute and get into that super sitting on top of your excluder and just pop up the frames, they won't care after that. You can pull that super off, they will not be mad again. It works for me and my bees. So I can keep them all nice and calm just by taking a minute and working through those quick, just all I have to do, I don't even have to pull them up. I just have to dislodge them off the excluder, and then they're good to go. So and the J-hook hive tool is nice because you can just do that along each one and pry them up and then back in business. So I thought I'd share that because I was pretty proud of that after, years I'm not going to admit doing this. So today's nerdy topic, I thought we would talk about dances, the bee dances. And this kind of came up for me because I was looking up, so when I got into beekeeping, it was a long time ago, way before I could actually ever keep bees. I took a class through the North Carolina Master's Beekeeping Program. And they, it's just a certification thing at North Carolina. NC State. And then there are different levels, and each level requires significantly more of you. And so it puts you on this path of like really having to like bees if you're going to go through it. By the end, you had to like travel internationally and learn how other cultures and countries keep bees. You have to teach people how to keep bees in other countries. Like it gets really crazy what you have to do. So I was thinking, anyway, I wanted to go see what their curriculum was just to keep me learning. And the next level, one of the topics for your exam is being able to talk about the various dances and what their purposes are. And I thought, dances? I only know of one dance. So I thought I'd share what I kind of learned. We all know about the waggle dance, right? The waggle dance is the one we've all heard about. So when I learned about beekeeping a long time ago, the waggle dance was still not accepted as fact. It was still under debate. It was discovered in the 70s by some guy named Fiersch, I don't know. But the waggle dance, if you all have seen it, the bee makes a little circle and then wiggles. It makes a circle and wiggles. Now, what they're doing is indicating where food is. And the direction they waggle in is an orientation to the sun. And it creates an angle that all the bees happen to be able to just figure out. And that tells them where to fly. And the distance that they waggle tells them how far to go. And there's math for that. It's like 1 second of waggle equals 1 kilometer of distance. They're that precise. But this is now accepted as fact. This is what bees do to communicate where to go to find food sources. I think most of us know that, right? We know about the waggle. What about the round dance? So the round dance is when bees make little circles and spin around and around over and over. It's actually just the waggle dance, but for really short distances. So for really short distances, they'll make circles of various sizes and shapes and spin. And that just means how far away from the hive it is. And so the bees can take off and just find it based on, and I forget like the formal waggle dance and what range that applies to. And then the round dance was within a couple hundred meters of the hive or something like that. I forget the distances, but that's the round dance. It's a variation of the waggle dance, but for super small distances. Now we have the tremble dance. So the tremble dance happens when a bee comes back from foraging and nobody greets it. Poor bee, full of nectar, got nowhere to go, and they just start shaking. And they start wobbling and shaking. And the bees get upset by this because it tells them that inside the hive, they don't have the right allocation of jobs. The bees that are producing honey and the bees foraging honey are out of balance. So when they see a bee shaking like it's crumbling under the weight of its own tummy, they reallocate resources to then go fetch more nectar from the incoming bees so they can go process honey. That's the tremble dance. It sends a signal to the rest of the bees to change your jobs. Now, there are some other ones that are less accepted as dances, but there are more movements that have been studied. There's the stop dance or the stop movement. So when a bee is doing a waggle dance, sometimes the bee will come right in their line and pop them right in the face. And that tells the bees that food's no longer safe. And they'll discard the waggle. So they'll literally go up and headbutt another bee to make them stop.
What would they use to determine if it's not safe?
I don't know. I really have no idea. But when I was reading, like that's the indication that that food supply is no longer safe or valuable anymore, and that's a headbutt. They'll headbutt another bee to tell them, stop telling them about that place. Yeah.
And would that be a bee that is also been to the same food source?
You would think. I don't know though. I would assume, but I'm not sure. There was another one. They called it a variation of the tremble, but the way they actually would describe it is a pulse, where they'll do a quick vibration. And if you ever watch, there was like a really cool like The Secret Life of Bees? I don't know. Pretty neat little documentary. It's a few episodes long. If you ever watch some stuff where they go inside a hive, you'll see bees do this. But the pulse is when a bee will suddenly go boom real quick. And that is a symbol to the other bees that something's wrong and get spicy. And if you watch some of these documentaries, you'll see them in a hive, like when a hornet goes in, you'll see one go boom, and you'll just see a ripple like the wave at a stadium. All of them just go boom, and then they're on. Now they all know it's time to go. So that's the pulse. They're not technically considered dances, but they're physical communication methods that bees have. So, pretty nerdy stuff. But here's the question that came in my mind after I was learning about some of the dances, and this is also why the waggle dance was under contention for so long, is NASA took honeybees into space. And they wanted to find out what bees will do if they don't have the sun, they don't have magnetism, they don't have gravity. Will bees be completely just messed up? And the answer is no. They figured it out. So even without the sun to be able to orient to correctly, they were able to still waggle and communicate. Even without Earth's magnetism to help navigate, they still could. And even without gravity, which meant they can't fly, they did. They learned to grab onto things and push and float to where they needed to go. So bees were able to build honeycomb, collect food, and process it in zero gravity on a spaceship with none of the things available that they would normally have in a hive to navigate or orient or anything. They still did it, which is crazy. But that just kind of like makes me think that all these things like waggle dances and stuff, that's just like a preferred way to do it, but by no means the only tool they've got. Also, when I was kind of learning about this, I remember learning that bees are sensitive to magnetism. And they can orient naturally to the Earth's poles. They can just feel it, and that's one of the ways they can navigate. Which is also why the space thing was interesting, because that was taken away from them. But even more interesting is scientists figured out how and why, and it's because they have something called magnetite in their bodies, in their abdomen, and so there's a physical sensation they can actually feel from the Earth's poles pulling at them. And scientists have done all kinds of crazy things like, well, how does it really work? And they've put magnets under food and then reversed it, see if bees would react and respond, and they absolutely would. They would get confused by the reversed magnetism and then eventually figure it out and ignore it and go on anyway, because they're smart enough to figure it out. So bees are crazy. That's my nerd stuff for the day. I would say any questions, but I don't know if I can answer them. Yeah.
Speaking of like the magnetic pole, I guess, or
Mhm.
attraction or their interaction with magnetism, how do they, or have you heard about anything about like power lines impacting that? Because with electricity flow,
Yeah.
have the magnetic field around. So I'm wondering, like, do they drill differently, like, or hives close to power line?
So
Curious.
my understanding is they absolutely are aware of them. They can tell that it's going on because it produces an electromagnetic field. As to any adverse effects, I haven't bumped into anything yet, but a not so fun experiment is to try to go out to your bees while you're talking on a phone. They'll come get you.
Really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. They can tell. They don't like being not the center of attention. But they're sensitive to those things. Now, as to, kind of like the experiments they did where they would put magnets with the food so they could find it and then reverse it to see if they would leave, all that happened. So they can tell that stuff's there, but they also were able to eventually figure it out and ignore it and go past it. So I don't know how significant it is, like what it really does to them, but in terms of their ability to navigate, it does seem to be a tool they have, but not one they are like dominated by. They can choose to ignore it. Yeah.
So thinking about this, electricity and magnetism and stuff. You were talking about bears.
Yeah.
Okay. And I was thinking, well, no electric fence around it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not going to make the bees.
No, that's really popular. Like when I'm in North Carolina, where I was learning to be a beekeeper, most of the state, from the middle out to the west, bears are a thing. And so, yeah, we were taught, put an electric fence around your bees. It's fine. Don't worry about it. And yeah, that's what they do out there. So yeah, I think the interesting thing was like, there's also all the stuff like their eyes and all the things they can see beyond what we can see and all this stuff. But it's just more information that they use. It's not like they're just like those are the only ways they can do things. And if you take them out of that environment, they're in trouble. That doesn't happen. Even in space, they're fine. They're cool. So yeah, just thought it was fascinating about dances, and I was like, hang on. And then I looked up the NASA thing and like just another tool, and then magnets. All those are tools they have, but they just use what they got. So yeah, that is all I've got for today. So what's on your mind? Yeah.
Question.
Uh-huh.
So I have several bird baths that the bees are feeding off of. And yesterday, I watched one bee continue to attack other bees repeatedly and kick them off the bird bath. Like wrestling and knocking them off. And then he'd come right back and go after another one.
Mm-hmm.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
Not just one. From what I was watching.
Yeah.
No, I mean,
There was a lot of them. A lot of bees drinking, taking their turn, but this one was super aggressive.
Now, it wasn't sugar water.
No,
Okay, just regular water.
No, just a bird bath, and the water was a little yucky, because they say that that's what they like, so I
I put
kind of
two
let it
bird
run.
baths out. I put two out.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I know that they do kind of fight each other, so I just put another one out.
But I watched him attack half a dozen other bees.
Yeah. Yeah.
One of them he threw in the water.
Uh-huh. Yeah, if you watch bees, when you watch bees fight each other, it's pretty funny. They're like drunk wrestlers. They'll just pull on each other and try to chuck them over an edge like they can't fly. But they'll do that. And so my instinct is maybe it's a bee from one of the other hives being like, this is my water now, playing King of the Hill with them. But if they really want to kill them, they'll rip their legs off. Like that's what they do to each other. If they really want to get them, is pull their legs or wings off, because they don't want to sting them, because that's their own death sentence. But they'll rip wings and legs off, if I remember right, as they're kind of, now it's serious. But yeah.
Sometimes they just get spicy and
Yeah.
decide this is fine.
Yeah.
You cannot have
Room
any.
for everyone.
Yeah.
Not playing nice.
Yeah.
You got 200 birds, same thing.
Yep.
One of them won't let the other one drink.
Yep.
And then the fight's on.
One more thing. Oh yeah. So the Arkansas State Beekeeping Association meeting is the end of September. It's usually in Mountain Home. I haven't looked where it is, but I've also never been to it. But the people have gone said it's a worthwhile thing to go to if you want to learn more about bees and get to know some very smart people in the space that also know what's going on in our area. So I would, if you can swing that for a weekend, it's coming up at the end of next month.
You said Mountain Home?
I think so.
How do we find out?
If you go to the Arkansas State Beekeeping Association website, that's like right there on the front page, who's speaking and all the things. I only ever vaguely remember it's like early fall. Yeah.
Okay, so I have read that from egg to queen,
Mhm.
16 and a half days. She'll emerge in 16 and a half days.
Yes.
Tell me what happens after that. As far as, does she stay there a few days? Then does she go up and make 2 or 3 days? Does she go up one time?
Oh, I'm not exactly confident about what I'll tell you. So I don't know what the downtime is between when she emerges and when she's like, let's get out there. But I don't think it's very long. I think there's probably a quick orientation, maybe a little bit of feeding, and she's probably out. And in terms of how many,
Time of day, is it?
I don't know. I do know that one of the more fascinating things to me about bees is they manage to go to these mating sites and no one tells them where they are. They just go. They figure it out. But they don't know where to go either. No one tells them. They all just figure it out. Like if you bought a nuke or got bees from somewhere else or bought a virgin queen, it will take off and go to a mating site by itself. No one tells them. They just figure it out. I don't know if that phenomenon's been figured out yet, but it was we don't know how this works when I was learning all this stuff. But they may have to take multiple mating flights. They will mate with mini drones,
Bee tender.
and they may not make it because it's a dangerous deal. But once they do successfully go through their mating, they'll never fly again, unless it's for an emergency, and they'll just kind of little dips because they're too fat. But that process can take, as far as I know, just based on like observations, could take a week or two, which is why when you get a brand new queen, you usually wait 2 to 3 weeks before you expect to see something, because they're just out there doing all that stuff. And also, I don't know how long it takes after they mate to start laying, but it takes a certain amount of time. So I don't know. It's an interesting question. Yeah.
You said that on the queen eggs, then it's just small hops, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when a swarm, when they swarm, right, that's the queen that's already there leaving, correct? Taking out.
I honestly can't ever remember.
I was just wondering, how does that happen?
Yeah, so she'll like lose weight sometimes if it is gone, and like she'll lose weight to where she can fly. A lot of times the swarms are like the newer queens that take off when part of the hive.
Okay, gotcha.
That's what I
I always
understand.
thought it was the old queen that was leaving.
Yeah, I don't ever remember which is which. In my head, though, just knowing how the queen's just sort of like doesn't want to do anything except lay eggs, I would assume it'd be the new queen, but I don't actually know. But yeah, if you ever go like rile up an established queen, she'll fly like 5 feet and then plonk down somewhere. Well, you'll never see her again, but like that's about as far as she'll go. If you go mess with a brand new queen, like she'll be up in the air and gone. I've lost several queens that way.
So that meeting is in Mountain View.
Mountain View.
The Ozark Folk Center State Park in Mountain View, Arkansas.
There you go.
25th and 26th of September.
Yeah. I think Brian, our last president, went last year and said he had a really good time. The other beekeeping thing that some of us go to every year is the North American Honeybee Expo, but that's in like Louisville, Kentucky, the first weekend after the New Year's, which is kind of a pain in the butt, but that's a really big one. It's a great place to go if you want to buy like everything you'll ever want for your beekeeping career at very low prices. You can also meet your favorite YouTuber probably. But yeah, what else you got? Anything? Should have done more about dances, I guess. No? Well,
Plug your Facebook page, talk in 2 weeks.
oh yeah. So we try to every 2 weeks. So once a month we do this, and then 2 weeks after this we try to do an online session. It's just informal. You can just hop in your jammies, and we can talk about bees. Whatever you want to do. It's just a nice way for us to get together outside of this, because this can be a little formal. And I always felt like once a month was like almost too long to remember to show up, but also like I felt like I had lots of questions and things I wanted to talk about. So why can't there be more? So I set this up. I generally send out information the week of, like, hey, it'll be here on Thursday, this Thursday, show up. But it's pretty much 2 weeks right after today. It'll be at the same time. You can just video conference in from your phone or whatever. And yeah, we just get to talk about bees and ask questions and figure stuff out.
So it's still going to be done.
Yeah. It's just been hard for me this summer with kids and travel and all the things. But yeah, I have no intention of stopping it. And I'd love for everyone to be there. It's a good way just to catch up and be like, my bees did this weird thing. Like, well, I don't know. Hope they're okay. The other thing, so for our people who haven't been here very much, we're coming into like the fall and winter, and so that means our beekeeping activities are naturally going to come to a close over the next few months. And in December, we always call it a potluck, but we cater the thing, so that's coming up. Last year, we also started doing a series of giveaways for people who would show up. Not like not like the 50-50 thing we do, but just you show up, you could get a gift card, or the last one I think was a whole hive. So I want to bring that up as what would be fun for you all for the next few months, because we're all ears. If you don't tell me anything, I'm just going to come up with more stuff and do this. So if there's stuff that would be interesting to you, what are your ideas?
I like I've got like Corolla strips
Mhm.
the oxalic acid strips one time.
Yeah.
That was fantastic because that was not something that I would have bought on my own.
Mhm.
And so it was nice to try something different.
Yeah.
And
So
without having to like, invest.
yeah. So would that fit along with
And
like,
hope it works,
yeah. Along with the treatments, like other, like maybe quirky beekeeping gear that you feel like, I'm not going to waste money on it, but it'd be cool to try?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like just stuff that, normally,
Yeah.
I feel like the basic stuff that you get like for the kids or,
Mhm.
you buy it online or something.
Yeah.
But like just some of the other little things that, that'd be cool to try, but also I don't
Yeah.
want to invest in it.
I totally understand what you're saying with that one. Yeah.
There is a plexiglass frame holder, and it's clear, and you drop a frame down there, and then you seal it, and you take it to school, you take it to nursing homes, whatever. But probably several of us have kids or grandkids that their teachers would absolutely love.
Yeah.
Does anybody have one? Has anybody ever seen one?
I
I
have.
saw it advertised.
I've
Yeah.
seen them. And I've got like my frames, like my super, I've got one of the plexiglass like frames in it, so you like undo the little thing, you pull it off and you can see
Oh, wow.
inside. So I'll check my views every once in a while.
Is it a flow hive or a different one? Yeah.
No, it's not a flow
Oh,
hive,
okay.
it's just like a normal frame,
Uh-huh.
like a super.
Okay.
Like, I've got a D,
Yeah.
and it's just got a plexiglass
It
side.
shows you the outside frame.
Yeah, it's just outside frame, and it just kind of buckles over, and I can like do that and like, pull the little piece off and plexiglass in there, so I can watch my bees just on the edge.
Interesting. Cool. But yeah, I think that's a totally reasonable thing for us to do. We can just start doing giveaways for random beekeeping accessories. Yeah.
Also, an extractor, we bought one.
Yeah.
It would have been nice to kind of seen it in action before we invested.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mhm.
oh yeah, it's great.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the club owns one or two. They're somewhere, and
That's the problem.
they're available to anyone in the club if we can find them. I don't remember what I've never seen them, but I think they're hand crank. I know one of the people that has one, but yeah, if you don't have an extractor and need one, we'll try to figure that out, and you can go collect it and extract.
Did we do anything at the local fair, like have a display or anything?
Not that I know of, and I think it's a mistake on our part not to do some of that stuff.
Like at some of our local honey.
Yeah. Yeah.
Get all the regulations or whatever.
Yeah.
Just have a little booth with a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
And have some of our honey, some of the stuff that we made, that kind of stuff.
I think it's a great idea. I know one of the first times I joined this club, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, we did do an event at one of like the first Fridays in Bentonville, and we had a little tent and brought all our stuff and let the kids try on all the suits and play with stuff, and they all had a great time, and lots of people came and asked questions. The most common question was about, if you grow weed, do you make weed honey? And us having to break the news that that's not how that works. And they were so sad. But yeah, I think we should be out doing more stuff like that. I would love to see our club grow more and more. I think that would be awesome. So I'm just not good at that kind of thing. So I need ideas and help with all of it. So yeah, and then also topics, things you would like to learn more about. Happy to do the talk, or if you want to do it, yeah. But if you have any ideas, just let me know. We'll always do a little bit of like what's going on with your bees and what should we be doing with our bees, but then what would be interesting to learn about, you know? There's lots of stuff in beekeeping to dig into. Even learning like how commercial beekeepers go about their lives is fascinating because they don't have the luxury of being as obsessive as we are. They still have to pull it off. So there's a lot of weird things you can learn from them. Maybe not all of them are great, but yeah. I think we can go ahead and do our raffles probably.
Okay.
So we're going to do our 50-50, but we also have 2 giveaways. Is that right?